everybody. Happy Saturday night to you. Tonight I chose to talk about how to get your spouse on board because it's a question that I hear a lot. I didn't specifically need to do a whole lot to get my own on board, but I hear it a lot because people see Mike and I and they're like, okay, well, how do I get my husband to support me in that way? And I'm going to help you with that tonight, okay? First of all, if this is your very first time being here, make sure that you click the subscribe button and that you also click the bell so you get notified whenever we go live again. We go live every day. It's always different times. Also let me know who you are because all I see are little heads. Okay. So let's go ahead and get at it, you guys. I don't want to take all of your Saturday night. So how do you get your spouse or your significant other to be on board? Because here's the deal, you guys, is if your significant other is not on board with your business, no matter what it is, if it's Young Living or if it's a brick and mortar business or whatever, if they're not on board with your business, then it's going to be a very rough go of it for your success, right? Because you're going to constantly, regardless of their actual perception, regardless of what they actually think, if you believe they're not on board, you're going to constantly be in a state of feeling like you have to, what are the words I'm trying to say here? You're always going to feel like you need to be explaining things to them and explaining, like if it's not immediately successful, explaining why that is. And it will get exhausting for you. So instead of spending that energy actually building your business, you're going to be spending a bunch of energy creating excuses or trying to defend. That's it. Trying to defend your stance with the business. And you guys, that's just, it's a loss of energy. And that energy needs to be used somewhere else. Amanda, hello, listening with hubby. Well, hello, hubby. Sarah, first, I need to find a spouse. Any takers? If you already have an account, that's cool too. That's funny. James, something tells me Mike is way too smart to be completely against something you completely believe in. Well, Mike and I came together in a perfect time where we were both, we just both think the same. Okay, we don't think the same way. Let me back up just a little bit. We don't think the same way, but we have the same values. Okay, so I think that that's something that's very, very important to note. He, like I say, oftentimes holds the string to my balloon, right? He's my anchor point. He's my root this in reality thing, right? Where I am just like, woo, like just kind of floating around. He's the one that's like, okay, now let's make this real. Okay, let's do this. Okay, that's a great idea. Now let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's do it consistently. Consistency is like Mike's middle name, you guys. He is all about consistency, as we should be. However, those of us that have even a tinge of blue in our personality are like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do all the things all the time, right? Like, and consistency kind of takes a backseat sometimes. So it's important that we do have our spouses that are different from us. They shouldn't be exactly like us. Listen, if Mike were exactly like me, I don't even know where we would be right now. Like I seriously don't even know. Like floating out in the atmosphere somewhere. But it's important that you have the same values and that you have the same ethics and that you have the same goals. Right? Now we're going to talk more about it here in just a second. Sarah, I agree with James. Kayla, it is exhausting. Yes, it is exhausting, right? Amanda, Sarah's laughing. Or Amanda's laughing. James, okay, got it. Sarah, you talk like we don't want to spend the entire night with you. I mean, if there was better things to do, there's not. Most of us don't have anything better to do now. Oh, man. James, if Mike were exactly like you, the universe might implode. Seriously. Like, we it would be, I can't even, that world makes me laugh, actually, because that would be an insane world. But, okay, here's how you get your spouse or your significant other on the same page as you. First of all, you chose your significant other. You chose them and they chose you for reasons, right? Hopefully, one of those reasons was that you share the same outlook on life and that you share the same goals in life, okay? Because essentially you're likely to be, potentially raising children together. If anything, you're going to be spending a lot of time together. Hopefully you have a similar vision for what a good life for the two of you would look like. Okay. So here's what I would do. I would sit down with a notebook. I do like notebooks. I would sit down with a notebook and I would do this. I would write down what a perfect life for the two of you together. This is like an exercise for both of you together. What a perfect life for the both of you would look like. So and break it down. Like, what kind of house is it, right? What kind of, are you homeschooling, or like what are the details of this life? What kind of cars do you drive? Do you work a 9-to-5 job? You guys, some people like working 9-to-5, and there's nothing wrong with that. Are you working 9-to-5s? In what way do you serve, right? What way are you able to give back to the local community? All of these things matter. Okay. So that you write those down so you can make sure that you're on the same page, because sometimes people date and they get together and stuff and they just don't know that they're not really on the same page. But whenever you can sit down and talk it out, you can team up together on these values and these goals that you have. Mike and I have had the same values and the same goals since day one. We've gone through our fair share of crazy. Not gonna lie. We've gone through our fair share of crazy, but at the end of the day, we have similar hearts. We have similar goals for the world around us. We have similar goals for Nora. We have similar goals for how we would like to give back to the community and how we would like to support the community. Those are things that we do share very similar goals in. Okay. So that is the very first step. All right. Sarah, I saw at least 4 people in the mall that were wearing shirts with phrases I swear came from your closet. That's awesome. Here's the second thing. What you're going to want to do, and hubby that's watching right now, maybe just listen to this. If not, then if your hubby isn't watching right now, then just do this later. Your hubby doesn't need to be watching right now. I don't know why I just checked my phone on video. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's embarrassing. That denotes that I have a problem. I think that means I have a problem. He says he's listening. That's funny. Okay, so the next thing is where you sell it to them, right? What are the things that they want out of life? So ask him, what do you want out of life? What are the things that, like, do you want a new car? Do you want to not have to work that job? Do you want, for the kids to not, or to be homeschooled or something? I don't know. I'm just choosing these different things. What are the things that you want? Like, what do you want in life, right? And it doesn't need to be this big, like, the meaning of life. It doesn't need to be like that. So I believe in goals and targets. Okay. So a goal is your long stretch goal. So your goal is to be a millionaire and live self-sustained on 40 acres of land, right? Like that would be a goal. Well, targets to that would be maybe having 3 income streams, and they're all completely independent of each other, and you're succeeding at all of them, and maybe like putting numbers like this is how much a month that you're making at all 3 of them or something like that. That's a target. And then you make that target and you hit that target, and then there's another target. So you have a number of targets on the way to your goal, because when you have a big massive goal, to just like run toward that big massive goal is kind of like throwing yourself at the mercy of everything, and it's very hard to believe in. It just is. So so those targets along the way are like the guideposts that get you to your goal. So what would be a target? What would be one of those smaller things, right? What do you want? Like a material thing. What do you want? Or do you want to be able to stay at home with the kids? Do you want for your salary to be now transferred into your at-home business, right? Your Young Living business. Do you want to be able to make enough with Young Living that you can then stay at home? Is that one of your benchmarks? That's like those are the things we need to know what they want, okay? Because just like future customers, just like anybody, right? We need to know what they want, because if you give somebody things that they don't want, then they don't care, right? There's nobody that's going to give any skin in the game if they don't give a rip about what you're talking about. You see what I'm talking about? What I'm saying? Let me say that twice in the same sentence. But like, do they want, let's just say, a Mustang? Is that what they want? Okay, well, then what you can say is like, all right, we will be able to get that. That will be the next thing on the agenda. The next, however much money that we make, we're going to be setting that aside and we're going to be getting that. Or is it, I want to start a savings account and I want to be able to put $200 a month into a savings account. Sometimes, you guys, a lot of times, especially with guys, they want security. They want to know that the bottom isn't going to fall out, right? They want to know that the money that's being made isn't being blown. They like strategy and they like security, and that's why I like them. Like it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So sometimes it's just, I want to know that $200 a month is going to be put in the savings account. And then what you do is you immediately move. You immediately move into action. You set up the savings account. You throw $200 in the savings account. You say, awesome, I got you. I'll do this. If I do this, will you support me in this business? Because it needs to be give and take, you guys. It can't just be people blindly following us, okay? That's not fair. That's not fair to ask another human being to do. What's fair is to talk to them about what matters to them and then help them get that out of the scenario as well, because you guys are a couple, right? You're a team. And whenever you're a team and whenever you have his buy-in as well, then now it's you guys, and I don't want to say against the world. Bob would totally not like my language on that, but I'm gonna say it. But it's like you guys against the world, right? Like it's you guys coming together and you're putting your heads together and you're getting creative. There's an interesting thing about Clydesdale horses, you guys. One Clydesdale horse is able to pull 8 times its own weight. Okay. 2 Clydesdale horses are able to pull 24 times their weight. So, doing the math, 1, 8 times. You would think another one would be another 8 times. It's not. When the 2 of them work together, It's 3 times what they would normally be able to do themselves with just 2 people, or just 2 Clydesdales people, whatever. But that's the idea, you guys. Whenever we're on the same page, Mike and I have the best meetings ever. And we're just sitting on the couch and we're just like, how can we serve? How can we serve? And he comes up with an idea, and then I come up with an idea. And what I equate it to is like tumbling stones. You know how whenever stones get tumbled, they polish each other. And sometimes we don't agree. Believe it or not, you guys, sometimes we don't agree, and sometimes it gets loud, and sometimes, I get very passionate and he gets very passionate. But in the end, you guys, we find something that works. And it works because it's something both of us have chosen and that we both had input into. So every single thing that you've ever seen come out of our brand has been us. It's never just been me, and it's never just been him. It's been both of us. And we have created all of this stuff together. And that is how, is because he knows that he's part of the team. But your significant other or your spouse or whoever isn't part of the team if you don't allow them to be part of the team. So like that's the whole thing, you guys, is asking them what they want, what they need, giving it to them, or at least taking a step in that direction. All they want is action. Show them action. Stop with the words. Show them the action. If they want you to set up a savings account, you set up a savings account and you start putting money in it. And then they can see that. And then the next month you put $200 in it and they can see that you're following through with what you said you were going to do, which then allows them to follow through in the support they said that they would give you. Does that make sense? That's how you get your spouse on your side, you guys. It's never a this or that, or you can't. I don't know. If they understand that they are part of the team, then you've really got something. If they determine that they're not part of the team, I don't know. James, men always say they are listening. Oops, said too much. Kayla, James, always get to see. I do listen after like 20 minutes of me going, we just talked about this. Sarah, I'm answering for Mike. Yes, he wants another Mustang because the one he has now is Nora's. Yeah. James, my shelter is the only goal I ever have written down and broken up into smaller steps. It will happen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sarah, yes, if a man isn't committing to the level you want, ask yourself if he feels secure. He probably doesn't. Thank you for that, Steve Harvey. Yes. Sophie, love that. Need to put 2 Clydesdales on my vision board. It's insane. The amount of action and the amount of things that you can get done with 2 people instead of 1. It's a lot. And I think with Mike and I, honestly, it's more than 3x. Like, because 2 Clydesdales is 3x. I think we're more like 10x. I think we're more like 11, 12, 13x on stuff that we can do together that we could not do alone. It's skill sets, you guys. Like, Mike and I specifically, have really different skill sets. So he can run off to the races on one thing where I can take off on another, but we can come together on an idea, and then our working on it goes psh, psh, like I work on my part, he works on his part, boom. And we can get a ton done. Sarah, iron sharpens iron, boom. Yes. James, who was it that said I'd rather have 1% of 100 people than 100% of my own effort? Synergy is real. Yes. I don't know who said that, but they were brilliant. And you're brilliant for remembering it. Sarah, that's a great idea, Sophie, right? Jenny, we're a military family, and I'm super blessed he's on board with his own account, just trying to push him to teach classes on his own. I would let him share on his own. Guys are so different. I would let him share on his own. Mike shares things at the gym. Didn't didn't you take some like CBD pain cream to the gym or muscle rub? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Just sounded like my dad for a second. Yep. Yep. Are you doing sit-ups? Is he? That's where that sound came from. I knew it. Oh, that's funny. So, and Nora said, yes. So, that's what, like with the military classes, or not military classes, the guys doing classes, Mike shares in a very organic way. He shares with a very, no, Siri, I don't need you. See, enough. Siri always tries to butt into my conversations, but, guys sharing is actually, it's almost like that works. Sharing these days works better for men than it does for women. It's so weird. Not that women can't do it, but guys are so open to stuff. And if other guys are just sharing stuff with him, they're like, yeah, I'll go and slap that on, right? Like it's just a thing. He may not even need to do classes because quite frankly, like if we were to break down the concept of a class, the concept of a class is really to soft to educate somebody or to let somebody know like how a product works and yada, yada, yada. Guys, I don't really feel like go to classes. I don't know. Maybe they do. But guys are more like in the moment, like, hey, dude, oh, your knee hurts? Here, go ahead and put some of this on it. And then they put it on and they're like, oh, man, that works. And they're like, where'd you get it from? Here, I'll hook you up. I don't know. I just try to act like a guy for a second. But like that's kind of how it goes. It's actually, if guys were to align with this stuff, it could be so freaking easy for them. Women are a little more like, well, I don't know. Like it goes, I just went into my Mildred mode, but like like Grandma Mildred, not Mildred. Mildred, I know you're going to watch this video later. I'm not talking about you. I love you so much. But there's like women are a little more skeptical or whatever. Guys are like, oh, works awesome. I need to know how to get that. So men can be massively successful in this business. 100%. Sarah, residual payoffs, James. Yes. Amanda, absolutely makes sense. Good. Jenny, LOL, I'd love to someday live together. With your husband? Is that what we're talking about? What are we talking about? Did I miss something? Did I say something and I missed it? Sarah, I'm going to have a whole new appreciation of the Clydesdales at Mona now. Right. Yes. Martha, you and Mike also have the foundation of God. Talk about rocket boosters on our mission, on your mission. We're completely blessed. We're massively blessed over here, and we do not forget it 1 second of the day. James, I'm too stubborn to live with anyone. Oh, I hear you. James, speaking of success, instead of complaining about how cold and windy it was, I got off my arse. Well, there you go. Good for you. Good for you. Well, you guys, that is pretty much it on how to get your spouses on board. Really find out what they need, find out what they want, give it to them, and then they're on board or they're not. And if they're not on board at that point, I would just kindly ask them, if they're not on board, that's fine. Just kindly not talk about it, right? Because the thing is if like either one of the couple, either one of the spouses, either one of a couple, if one person makes somebody else give up a dream, then they're going to give up something else. That's big, you guys. If one person makes another person give up their dream, then that other person is likely also going to give up on the marriage or something else big. They'll be giving up on things. because they're not happy, right? They'll just start giving up on things. And if they're not happy, that's the stuff that starts to grow. So if you are married to someone that has a dream, support their dream. Find a way to support their dream. Find a way to make things easier for them. Find a way to cheerlead them. That doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't cost you a dime to cheerlead somebody and to say, "Hey, you're doing an awesome job." Right? So this is like on the opposite side of things. This is like where I'm actually talking to the spouses, because if you make your spouse give up on a dream, they will give up on something else. Sarah, way to put your foot in your mouth. It's a good thing Mildred is awesome. It is a good thing. James went out for dinner and talked to a stranger. Oh, that's awesome. Handed out cards just like confetti. Sarah, some men aren't on board till their wife is diamond. I've heard it more than once. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And like for the people that aren't on board until their wife is a diamond, I would look at those wives that are diamonds, and those chicks are resilient. Look at the power of those women, because to be able to keep plowing through, even though your husband isn't on board, that's a lot. Because if your husband isn't on board, it denotes a lot of things, right? It'll show you a lot of things. They probably aren't helping watch the kids while you're trying to work. They're probably not supporting you. They're probably not cheerleading you. You're probably like working against the grain at home. So look at those women that said that their husbands weren't on board until they were diamond, and look at how resilient those women are. That's something that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. It shouldn't be necessary. I hope it's not necessary, but it is good stuff. Kayla, my boyfriend is supportive and behind me, but it's more like he loves Dawn soap way too much. I understand that. Men like the sudsies. They like the bubbles of the Dawn soap. We know. I've heard it from many people. I like the sudsies and the bubbles. They don't say that, of course, but that's basically what it is. Okay. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.